Hashem. Shoot. I cannot find my talit. I just had it and now I can't find it. Right. I'm going to go find it. I 10. And we welcome Rachel Bowman to lead us in Hine Matov. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So, my very first student pulpit was in Fort Smith, Arkansas. When I came back from the year in Israel, I was assigned a biweekly in Fort Smith AR. And I thought that AR, I immediately thought Arizona.
Sure.
And a friend of mine said, no, that's AZ. I said, Arkansas. I said, oh. And now I'm trying to think of border states of Arkansas and where it is on the map because I had very little knowledge of it because I grew up in Chicago, and Chicago is the center of the universe, and then there's everything else. So when I got to Fort Smith, it's a beautiful, wonderful community, very warm. They had a sanctuary that seated about 250 people, fixed seats. And the very first Friday evening service that I was there to lead, there were not 250 people to fill those seats. There were about 60 people. And they were scattered throughout the sanctuary. 250 seats, 60 people, scattered all about. So I saw that, and I said, we're an intimate group this evening. Why don't you all move forward? And the look on their faces, it was as if I had asked them to all take off their clothes. At the risk of repeating that same mistake, I would like to invite everyone to move just a little bit closer, as close as you are comfortable. Nobody will be called upon to do anything that they aren't already prepared to do, I promise. No one will be asked questions that they cannot answer. It just makes it feel a little bit warmer, a little bit nicer for all of us. I am so appreciative. This is such a different response than I got at Fort Smith, Arkansas. I am deeply appreciative. We are so pleased this evening as we celebrate as a congregation Pride Shabbat to have Rachel Woolman here this evening with us, and tomorrow morning and Sunday morning, to bring the beauty of her music, the beauty of her spirit, to bring her story to each and every one of us. This is the first time that I'm meeting Rachel in person. We had the opportunity to meet via Zoom, which these days is a very common way to meet somebody for the first time if they are not residing in your same community. And we immediately hit it off for a couple of different reasons. Number one, camp.
Yep.
You've been doing camp since you were 9
It's
years
true.
old.
Haven't missed a summer yet.
Yep. And you met your wife at
did.
camp,
Yeah.
Rabbi Ahuva Zaches.
Zach. It looks like
Zachs.
Zaches.
Right.
And when she was ordained, they said Zaches because
Right.
the CH.
Yes.
Which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it's actually Zachs.
Zachs.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. I mean, people should pronounce the name the way that they
Well,
want to pronounce it,
sure,
and the way that
but
it's spelled. I
writtenly
like
it doesn't make sense.
So, and we have a connection through Virginia. Our first pulpit was in, and it's not the royal we, it's my wife and I, was in Norfolk, Virginia, not too far away from Richmond, Virginia,
Yeah.
where you currently live
Yes.
and work. And Rachel brings her music all over. Her love of Judaism, the way that it's expressed through music, teaching, encouraging, and inspiring, and we are so pleased to have you with us this evening. For those who are participating in our physical sanctuary, for those who are participating in our digital sanctuary, we are so glad to have everyone here this evening. And so we continue, and I'd like to invite Rabbi Heaps, if you'll come forward and continue our worship together.
Yeah. And you'll notice tonight, I want to say something before we sing this, is that I wanted to be intentional in choosing queer artists, so queer people who've written Jewish music that you already know and love, and maybe didn't even know they're queer. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Shiru Adonai, O Haaretz. Shiru Adonai, Shir Hadash. Shiru.
Page 344.
Shiru. Thank you. Adonai, O Haaretz. Shiru, Shiru Adonai, Shir Ha- Sing unto God. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru, Shiru Adonai, O Haaretz. Shiru Adonai, Shir Hadash.
Loving God, we thank you for each small and large blessing in the week that has passed, and for the strength that you gave us to overcome our difficulties. We ask your blessings and protection for the week that lies ahead. Grant health and safety to our loved ones and friends. Help us to strengthen each other with gentle words and acts of kindness. Bestow your blessings upon all your children. May we enter Shabbat in purity and peace, in radiance and joy. Every Shabbat, we like to invite in that radiance, that joy, by inviting in light and sweetness. And so to help us with our candles and Kiddush, I invite the members of our Pride Committee, Alon and the Mendels. And Karen, I'm going to ask you to come forward too. Yeah, why not? A surprise candle blessing can never go wrong.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Ad
Every Shabbat, it's a joy to be able to share a moment of holiness together. And so we love to bless our moments. And we should bless this moment that we get to be together with a Shechianu.
It's my favorite way to bless moments.
Every moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman
Together on our screens, we read, "Pride is not automatic. It's not thrust upon us like responsibility on a new parent, nor handed to us on a silver platter. Rather, it is found bubbling in the depths of our souls. It grows like the first buds of spring, hindered by the weather, but strong nonetheless until it blooms into a full flower." There is a custom to welcoming Shabbat as elaborately as one would welcome a queen. Rabbi Hanina would wrap himself in special garments on Shabbat Eve and say, "Come, let us go out to the street to greet the Shabbat queen." Another sage, Rabbi Yanai, would don his garment on Shabbat Eve and say, "Enter, O bride, enter, O bride." We say those same words, Boi Kala, Boi V'Shalom, page 21 or 139, verse number 9.
Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala, boi kala. Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala, boi kala. L'chadodi, l'chadodi, l'ikrat kala, b'nei Shabbat
Some of you might recognize this flag that's on the screen, but may not know some of the origins to the colors and to how the flag came to be. For us in this space, each of the color brings a certain word to mind and a certain holiness to it. The red stands for chaim, for life. The orange for refu'ah, for healing. The yellow for sunlight and sunset, shemesh. The green for nature, for teva. The indigo for shalom, for harmony. And the violet for ruach, for spirit. In 1999, a transgender activist and veteran named Monica Helms created the transgender pride flag with white, pink, and light blue stripes. And then in 2018, artist Daniel Quasar combined both renderings to reimagine and redesign the Progress Pride flag. The flag's black and brown stripes represent marginalized LGBTQ communities of color, community members lost to HIV and AIDS, and those currently living with AIDS. Quasar shaped the new flag colors into an arrow-like shape to symbolize the need for forward movement. We move forward with every moment that we take pride, every moment that we see holiness, and every moment we answer the call of those who are not ordinarily celebrated in religious environments. We answer their call with a word of blessing. Baruch Hu, page 28 or 146. Please rise as you are able. We read responsively from our screens. As the sun sinks and colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in between roles at the intersection of histories or between place and place. We are crisscross paths of memory and destination, streaks of light swirled together. We are neither day nor night. We are born neither and all. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions. May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight. We cannot always define, we can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. When two people relate to each other authentically and humanely, God is the electricity that surges between them. We find God in our call to worship, our call to faith, our call to each other. Shema Yisrael, page 34 or 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha v'chol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzav
בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. One of the most important teachings of the Torah is to love your neighbor as yourself. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. We are commanded to love all members of the human family. In the creation account of the book of Genesis, God creates us B'Tselem Elohim, in God's image. That means all of us, no matter the color of our skin, religion, gender identity, nationality, economic status, disability, or sexual orientation, all are reflections of the divine being who created us all. Therefore, when we act with love and compassion toward one another, we become holy. But holiness is not enough. Being holy means we become aware of our task to fix this broken world. On our screens, we read the poem Liberation together. The time is nearing, once again, of our accounting of our own esteem, of gathering our pride in our accomplishments, and in ourselves a time of standing up and declaring who we are and proclaiming liberation for all to hear. It should be so simple to take pride in who we are and how God made us to be. But oh, those walls, traps, and barriers, they are put in our way, and all the distractions meant to lead us astray. It has taken so very long, and yet not long at all, to rise and proclaim freedom for ourselves and many others as well, to make our land free for all who are different, to make it safe for our stories to tell. So now is the time to liberate the land and ourselves as well, as we declare our love for those like us or across the lines of gender or sexuality. We do it with pride and love and faith, and in so doing, we liberate us all. Leviticus tells us, proclaim liberty throughout the land to all who live there. Ukratem dor ba'aretz l'kol yoshevha. We continue with our song of liberty, our song of freedom, Mi Chamocha, page 40 or 158. Page 44 or 162. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ירית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת
vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורם ברית עולם.
I just want to bounce. A blessing for my LGBTQ ancestors. You who fought to love, you who prayed to the same God I do, you who insisted upon your dignity even when the world said you had none, you who died of AIDS while fighting for a cure so that people like me might live, you who were shot in a massacre while on the dance floor, you who could not come out and held your secret until your dying day. You were insulted, shamed, beaten, and brutalized, yet kept walking. You who contributed your fierceness, your originality, your art, and your voice to this world. I walk in your memory. I walk this path, smoothed and chartered by your sacrifice toward justice, toward holiness, toward freedom. We turn to our tefillah, our prayer, beginning on page 46 or 164. Please rise as you are able.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Goel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Ata Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atara ve'hoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim, Ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Mi chamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melech, Melech meimit mechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
Every Shabbat, every service, we have the opportunity to ask for God to offer us a shalom rav, a great sense of wholeness, of contentment, of peace. And yet we know that prayer is not enough to fully earn our shalom. We have to do our shalom. We have to take what happens in the sanctuary and bring it out into this world. We ask for God to offer us a Shalom Rav, just as much with our prayers as we do with our actions. Page 60 or 178. We take these next few moments for our own personal prayers.
Hearts and our prayers to friends and family members, members of our community who are struggling with illness of body or illness of spirit. It may even be we ourselves who are in need of this healing. And I invite you, if you are comfortable, to rise and share the names of the people that you are thinking of, especially in this moment for those present in our physical sanctuary. For those who are participating in our online sanctuary, we invite you to share the names in the comment section on YouTube or on Facebook Live. Meredith Levinson, Aileen Blum, Esther Brown, Minna Einhorn, Dan Franks, Gail Garbarski, Barbara Hoffman, Larry Cart, Jim Clapman, Alice Krause, Nicole and Michael McGovern, Jay Neal, Daryl Osborne, Kirti Paraka, Betty Palis, Mark Pierce, Ronald Rubin, Jackie Schistel, Jocelyn Snower, Katie Spiro, Patricia Weinfuss, Mark Weiss, Beth Weiner, George Wittenberg, and Bob Young. You can find the words to Misha Berach's prayer for healing on page 253 or 371 in the thicker volumes. We invite you to join together. We are so pleased to have you here with us, Rachel, sharing your music, your spirit, and your story. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that the connection that we were able to make to bring you here is through our Director of Congregational Learning, Matt Rissian, who, if you don't know Matt already, you probably do, because you're connected to him in some way, shape, or form. It is amazing. There used to be 6 degrees of separation. It was the Kevin Bacon game, I guess. With Matt Rissian, it's like 0 degrees of separation in every case. It's just, it continues to blow my mind. So it is so wonderful to have you here, Rachel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Matt. Yes, there is 0 degrees. He's actually won game shows about it. So I don't publicly speak that often, so I just want to be very candid with you all. I was quite nervous for this moment, and I think as someone who does this work, it's important to say this. It's important to do it scared. Someone I follow online says that all the time. If you do it scared, it doesn't have to be perfect, and that's okay. So that's my forewarning if I speak too fast. I was 10 years old when I realized I was different from my friends. I didn't fully understand the term lesbian quite yet. All I knew is that it was something bad. I have a strong first memory of learning the word lesbian when I was even younger. I remembered my older sister needing to write an essay for school. She was given the prompt to write about someone she wanted to be like when she grew up. Growing up, we were super into the Rosie O'Donnell talk show. Does anyone remember that? Okay, great. I'm so glad. Big fan over here. We loved her catchphrases so much, and I loved her so much that my mom bought me a Rosie doll to sleep with, and you would squeeze the hand and say, "You're a cutie patootie." I have very vivid memories. I just loved Rosie O'Donnell growing up. And every night I would sleep with that doll. When my sister said she wanted to write about Rosie O'Donnell, it was right after she had publicly come out as a lesbian. I remember my parents saying, "No, you're not going to write about Rosie O'Donnell. She just came out as a lesbian. This is something that society sees as wrong." When I was 10, I started to realize I could be queer. I knew I had to hide it and be very careful about who I told this to. This was the harsh reality of growing up in the 90s and early 2000s. At my high school, there was one out person, and he told me later that he got beat up almost every day. Even though I grew up right outside of Washington, D.C., homophobia was something I dealt with and lived with every day. It wasn't until I started to get involved with my synagogue that I was able to have a queer role model. The rabbi that I got to work with for my bat mitzvah was openly gay. Rabbi Marcus Bernstein. He was the youth rabbi, and he got assigned to a lot of B'nai Mitzvot. He was the kindest, most down-to-earth person I had ever met. He also inspired me and supported me throughout my entire Jewish journey. He was not only the rabbi at my bat mitzvah by my side, helping me learn my Torah portion and understanding Judaism from a different lens, but he was the rabbi for my confirmation and supported me throughout youth group. He was the one who signed my document when I wanted to run for regional board of Nifty Mar, which was a very big thing back in the day, mind you. And he was the one to sign saying that, yes, he approves. And my youth director showed me recently, a couple years ago, so he passed away a few years ago from cancer, and my youth director found this book we made for him when he left our synagogue. And in that book, I said, "Thank you for supporting me, and thank you for being there for me. Other rabbis didn't want their teens to do this, but you always did." And I'm so grateful that he was such a huge part of my life in a way that I didn't even know that I needed. He was truly an incredible rabbi. High school is a hard process for most people. For me, I feel gratitude that I was able to escape high school challenges by being extremely involved in my synagogue youth group, the choir, regional youth group, and Jewish summer camp. I think one of the biggest gifts from Reform Judaism is the ability to be openly queer in this space. And to be able to see queer people being themselves in Reformed Jewish spaces is something that I have cherished for a very long time. I felt lucky enough that even though I wasn't ready to come out, I knew that when I was, my Jewish home would be there for me every step of the way. I wasn't able to fully come out until I was 18 years old. I think a part of me was protecting myself. I didn't want to have to deal with the judgment and deal with people thinking, is this a phase? Is this really what you want? I even remember my parents when I went off to college. My mom said, you could date a boy if you want to. Because, every good Jewish mother wants a nice Jewish husband. And that's what it was like, in the 2000s, and for some people still today. And so, despite not having it be a phase, my parents have not only accepted but cherished, love myself and my wife. In fact, they always want us to visit. They're like, you're not with us enough. And I feel grateful that I have such a supportive family. I feel privileged living in a time where being queer is now celebrated. Despite parts of our country constantly trying to go back in history, I feel so confident in the Jewish community. Not only do we uplift and support queer folk, we have organizations like the Religious Action Center who fights for the rights of queer and trans people every day. I'm also privileged to be part of communities that are so accepting of me and my wife. In fact, we've led this exact service for the last 3 years at her congregation in Richmond, Virginia, where she serves as the rabbi, called Congregation Orami. While we've made strides in the LGBTQIA+ community, we still have work to do. There are ways that you can show queer people that you are someone they can feel safe with. It's as simple as introducing yourself and using your pronouns, saying, "Hi, my name is Rachel Woolman, and I use she, her pronouns." There's also ways to make spaces more inclusive by making sure there's gender-neutral bathrooms. Not everyone fits in the binary, and having space for each of those people to feel comfortable shows that you are accepting. There's incredible organizations that does this work every single day, like Keshet. They offer resources for Jewish queer folk and allies, showing you that Judaism is really a beautiful religion to be part of and to be queer. The fact that you all celebrate and bring in queer folks to your community shows how important these issues are to this synagogue. I am so grateful and appreciative that you all brought me all the way from Virginia to share my story and to talk about this. And I am so grateful because you, by showing this and talking about these things, are showing adults and kids and teens that this is an open space. This is a safe space. We encourage coming out. We encourage being who you are. Not only is that amazing here at Temple Jeremiah, but something beautifully done by the Reform movement. Thank you all for listening to me speaking today, and Shabbat Shalom.
In this period of time between Passover and Shavuot, we continue our counting up of the days, these days of preparation for reliving the moment at Mount Sinai when our ancestors were given the Torah, this wonderful book of instruction, which we will continue to study tomorrow morning. Rachel will lead us in Torah study, and we have this opportunity to mark the days, and not simply to take note of them, but to be aware of how we can bring meaning to each and every moment of each and every day of our lives. So Cantor, if you'll lead us in the bracha, the blessing for the counting of the Omer.
הנני מוכן ומזומן לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת העומר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. היום 13 ימים שהם 3 שבועות ו2 ימים לעומר. Today is 23 days, which is 3 weeks and 2 days of the Omer.
Aleinu l'shabeach. It is our responsibility, our privilege, our obligation to give praise to God who created this incredible world filled with beauty and love and life. Page 282, page 586. I invite you to rise as you are able. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא
ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. לתקן עולם במלכות שדי, together we can heal the world. לתקן עולם במלכות שדי, we must all work together, 'cause we are all the children of Adonai. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו We must all work together, 'cause we are all the children of Adonai.
Please be seated. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. If it is your custom to do so, I invite you to rise as I share the name of your loved one. And if you are participating in our digital worship this evening, we invite you to share the names of your loved one within the chat of each of the media. Remember the recent passings of Rosalind Hamer, Beth Hirschfield, Fanny Krashen, and Sandra Rosen. And just this past week, Cynthia McLean, mother of David, John, Steve, Tom, and Bill, grandmother of Lindsay, Lexi, Mara, Sarah, Ryan, Chelsea, Amanda, Quinn, Sam, Daphne, Otto, Harry, and Joe, and great-grandmother of Minna and Lennon. We also call into our hearts the countless civilians killed this week, caught in the crossfire of war, terror, and violence. And the following yahrzeit occurred this past week. Robert Alweiss, Milton Altman, Samuel Andelman, Isabel Artstein, Sybil Becker, Elaine Bell, Susan Blinderman, Eugene Bronstein, Harris Cohen, Albert Daniel, Michael Devon, Alexander Don, Herbert Goodman, Marion Gordon, Blanche Gordon, Harriet Gustafson, Frank Hart, Richard Hirschfelder, Carol Kaplan, Eleanor Kaufman, Edith Kessler, Jerome Kitsis, Mayor Klein, Molly Kligerman, Helen Loughton, Robert Margolis, David Meyer, Morris Millman, Marvin Sidney Mislis, Robert O'Connor, Sue Patterson, Steve Rosenthal, Myron Mike Rubnitz, Mildred Ruskin, Muriel Shabbat, Herman Simon, Loretta Simon, Miriam Simon, Herbert Spire, Jean Suss, Sophie Tenenbaum, Sarah Trilling, Maxine Van Gelder, Robert Vian, Edward Weiss, Ruth Winternitz, and Jerry Zussman. Are there other names that we are remembering in this moment? Zichronam livracha, may the memory of the righteous always be for a blessing. As one family, we turn to page 294 or 598 and invite you to rise as you are able for Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yom echon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei d'kudsha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Oh, say shalom bimromav. Huya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru.
May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Brian? I have you down for announcements, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I'll wing it. Hello, my name is Brian Rubin. I go by he, his, him, and I am proud to serve on the executive committee of Temple Jeremiah. On behalf of our congregation, we welcome all of our guests and visitors, and thank you for sharing this very special Kabbalat Shabbat worship with us. I also want to thank our special guest, Rachel Woolman, for making tonight's service warm, special, and inclusive. And I don't know about you guys, but I felt at many times during the service I was at a concert, so it was great. And also thank you for sharing your very personal story with us. Our condolences go out to those in our community that have experienced a loss. I'd also like to congratulate Lila Khan for becoming a bat mitzvah tomorrow. I'll have the honor of sitting with her on the bima tomorrow and encourage everyone to come and join us. There's always a lot going on at Temple Jeremiah. Encourage everyone to read the Thursday email as well as the Temple website. A couple of announcements. So tomorrow, invite everyone to join Rachel Woolman at our Torah study at 9:30, either in person or in Zoom. Friday, May 5th, is our family Kabbalat Shabbat worship. On Friday, May 12th and May 13th on Saturday for Torah study. Our Scholar in Residence weekend is going to be featuring Rabbi Hara Person. She is the Chief Executive of Central Conference of American Rabbis. Friday, May 19th, is going to be a Brotherhood Shabbat dinner following services. And the Brotherhood put me up to this one as well. Sunday, May 21st at 11:30 is the Brotherhood barbecue, and followed by the Jeremiah youth trip to Six Flags. And yesterday I was on Capitol Hill, so I would be remiss to say on Monday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. is our annual meeting. So vote on your nominated officers and directors. And since we're all in Chicago, vote as many times as you can until Danny Glassman says no. So again, welcome everyone and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. And as you referenced Keshet, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that Jackie Maris is here tonight with us. Jackie has become a very important part of not only our community, but the Temple Jeremiah community, teaching in our JQuest program, as well as all the wonderful work she does for Keshet. So Jackie, it's great to have you here this evening, as it is on every Sunday morning, participating and helping guide our young people. We are going to bring our worship to a close with a song that we already had a bit of a taste of,
Yeah.
as a lead from Yehiyu Ratzon. born this way, I invite you to rise as you are able and remain standing for our closing blessing, and of course, to please join together with us.
I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just look yourself in your set. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistake. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and just say, I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way.
Bruchim ayinu bevoenu, bruchim nihiyeh b'tzeitenu. Blessed are we as we gather together to welcome Shabbat, to celebrate this Pride Shabbat. Blessed may we be from this time and always. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.